Nostalgia is a funny thing. Sometimes you remember something being brilliant years ago, but you revisit it and it was very underwhelming. And other times it holds up to or even exceeds your fond memories of it, which is exactly how I feel towards Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Allow me to elaborate. The basic premise is Peter Parker getting bitten by a genetically modified spider and soon discovering he's developed superpowers as a result, including super strength, speed, reflexes, and the ability to sense danger before it strikes. So he obviously has to get to grips with them and is clumsy at first. He gets mistakenly called Spider-Man at an underground wrestling match and adopts that as his alter ego. After some tough realisations, he makes the decision to become a vigilante and to protect the citizens of New York. At the same time, Norman Osborn is working on an experimental neurotoxin to enhance human capabilities. Without a subject, he tests it on himself. It does in fact grant him super strength and speed, but it also makes him develop an evil alter ego as a side effect, the Green Goblin, and in turn makes him rid his enemies and destroy any competition for his own company, Oscorp. Once they realise they're at cross purposes, the Goblin tries to convince the Spider-Man to join him, as together they'd be unstoppable and their scope of power virtually limitless. And these are basically the three main strands of the story. Well, honestly, I struggle to find a bad thing to say about this movie. It's a well-written, perfectly paced, engaging superhero movie. It doesn't come across as pretentious or ham-fisted in any way. No scene feels out of place and nothing is just thrown in for the sake of being there. And it's unique in the sense that it's a pre-MCU storyline that isn't connected to any of the other entries in that series, obviously because the MCU wasn't a thing when this came out. The casting of every character is top notch. Willem Dafoe was perfect for the Green Goblin, James Franco was equally perfect as Harry Osborn, and to me, no one will ever top Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for origin stories, and when it's done brilliantly, they often remain my favourite in the series, and this one certainly is mine. Obviously, this was the first in a trilogy, the second was equally as good, if not better, and the third, well, but that's a story for another time. As always, there's no sunshine without a little rain. My only real gripe is how dumb Mary Jane is. It's obvious Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and she can't figure that out, even though he says the same thing in and out of costume within about 5 minutes of each other, and it's not like he's putting on a voice. All in all, I find it hard to be harsh about this film. It was one of my favourites as a kid, and I guess it kick-started my fascination with superheroes subconsciously. And I still think it holds up well. Even if the CGI is a bit dated in parts, it's a perfect love letter to Marvel and comics that have entertained so many generations and will certainly entertain more to come. Well, I think that about covers it. Signing off.